What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. And this is a video request from Dorian. And I think this one is a rather easy one for me to answer as far as giving just my opinion. What if the Philadelphia 76ers, the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers, we all remember how that team went on that remarkable run to the NBA Finals. But of course, they lost in a not so competitive NBA Finals series against a 2001 Lakers squad that had one of the great playoff runs ever, going 15-1 during the postseason. Because of course, back then, the first round was just best of five instead of best of seven. But although the 76ers lost that final series 4-1, Iverson did drop 48 points for a game one overtime victory. Although the Lakers are going to win the next four games. But what if the Lakers took a 3-1 lead in that finals, but somehow, some way, Philly won games 5, 6, and 7. And Iverson had the first comeback in the finals from 3-1. What would that do for Iverson's legacy? Well, considering how dominant that 2001 Lakers squad was, although they only won, and I say only, considering how dominant they were in the postseason. They only won 56 games during the regular season, but a lot of that you could chalk up to injuries. I definitely remember Shaquille O'Neal being hurt. I want to say Rick Fox got hurt that year too. I know some of the role players suffer from injuries too. Ron Harper, I believe, got hurt too that year, and that's when Derek Fisher, excuse me, Derek Fisher was inserted into the starting lineup, and he absolutely just went ballistic during that postseason run. I want to say he shot something like almost 50% from three during that playoff run. But that Sixers team was specifically built for Iverson. He was the offensive piece. The offense ran through him. It was a great defensive team. You know, um, you had guys on that team who were more defensive contributors than offensive players. But if they were able to come back from a 3-1 deficit, first of all, the only way I can even see that remotely being possible is if the Kimmy Mutombo had the series of his life. I don't remember his numbers offhand, but I want to say he might have averaged like 12 points and 10 or 11 rebounds. So if he averaged more like 16 and 13 and maybe four, going on five blocks a game, down the clock back about 3 or 4 years, Iverson would have had to have a tremendous series, probably averaging 37, 38 on what for him would be tremendous efficiency, 45, 46%. And some other offensive player, maybe Aaron McKee, chipping in with greater than normal productivity, maybe 17, 18 points a game or something. Kobe would have had to have been neutralized to a great degree. The role players would have had to not really breaking out and coming through in key situations. Whatever the case may be, if Iverson and the Sixers would come back from a 3-1 deficit and win a championship, I think just from those circumstances, Iverson would be elevated from just a legendary Sixers player to probably the greatest. Let me think before I say this. probably the greatest Philadelphia sports legend of all time. And maybe I'm leaving some guys out. I know Joe Frazier's a legend, but if you weren't there and you didn't see how dominant that Laker team was during the playoffs, if they were to do that, Iverson would be the greatest, I think, Philly sports legend of all time. And as far as all time rankings, Iverson is what considered more or less what a top 50, maybe top 40, 45 guy. I think his championship, of course, it wouldn't come with anybody being suspended. It wouldn't come with fortuitous injuries, hopefully. Um, I think he would be elevated with that feat to a top 20 all time player. Maybe even top 15, just from a sentimental value aspect. I mean, think about it, man. Think about it. Do you know how insane it would have been in Philly if they had won that series, especially coming back from 3-1? Because they're already a team that wasn't expected to win. And then, when you're down 3-1 and you're a Philly fan, you're kind of resigned to the fact that in your mind, even though you want to admit it, you kind of think, okay, we're going to lose this series. I'm proud of what we accomplished, but we can lose. For them to come back and win 3 games in a row against that Lakers squad, with Shaq at the peak of his powers, with Kobe entering the peak of his career, with the great Phil Jackson, who, generally speaking, when he had a team that great, would never lose in those circumstances, and Larry Brown, whose reputation at the time was a great X's and O's coach, but sometimes he found a way to blow games, right? So yeah, uh, I think that it elevates, obviously, Allen Iverson, further elevates Larry Brown, especially if he goes on to coach that Pistons team, win a championship there too. But yeah, Iverson goes down as one of the great inspirational players of all time. And I wonder if Commissioner David Stern would give Iverson a different look. Um, Iverson was never going to be a media darling, but maybe they could have been the first to promote Iverson as the anti hero. Not a villain, not a traditional hero, but an anti establishment guy that people roots for, who people can identify with. The quote unquote system's rigged against them. They don't understand him. Uh, the system wants to see him fail, but he overcame adversity and triumphed against all odds. That's something that's something that angle they could have taken with him. You know, as far as promoting Iverson, a championship solidifies that. But anyway, tell me what you guys think. Oh, by the way, if he wins a championship in 2001, I think that the Philadelphia 76ers probably go back to the finals again. I don't know if it'll be the next year, but they'll go back to the finals. I don't think that they would just be sort of faded out. I think other players would kind of want to go to Philly then. But yeah, tell me what you guys think.